Hey, it's Michael and Connor. It is bottling day for, well, one of our brews we're going to bottle today was the Sierra Nevada clone. Those who were at the homebrew workshop, that was the one I was working on. So we're going to get to it. We're going to show you all the steps. But first thing we probably want to do is take a sample to make sure we're at terminal gravity. So sanitation is very, very key to this whole process. I've already sprayed the whole outside of this bucket with a sanitizing solution, Star San. So we just want to keep everything as clean as possible because we could still introduce some bacteria and nasties into that has not been sanitized, by the way, the thief. All right, including this going in right now. Oh my God, that's a lot of beer. You got it. Okay.
There it is.
So I forgot how much beer was in here, actually.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right.
It's okay.
Yeah, I guess
Just more that we can put into bottles.
My concern is, maybe it's not going to be as carbonated as I'd like.
Okay.
All right, so Connor's going to take a sample.
So we can get this into the hydrometer, which is what we use to test gravity of the beer.
I'm hoping it'll be somewhere around 1.012, 1.014. So a relatively dry beer, but with a little bit of residual sweetness, and in a pale ale, I think that sounds really quite nice. A little more. And of course, you get to taste it at this point too, which is very important. It's got to make it float.
Right. In case you don't remember,
Take that from there.
this is measuring how much dissolved sugar is in the beer. So originally there was a whole lot of sugar, and the gravity was very high. Now it should be a whole lot lower.
Oh, it's going to be, oh my gosh. I think I might even finish lower than where we want.
Do you remember what the original gravity was?
I think it was 1.052 or 54 or something. I can go look it up, but this beer finished drier than we thought, which I like.
It's like right at 1.012.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
And I'm sure if I had my recipe in front of me, that's exactly what we'd want.
I think that's
So shall we taste it?
Pretty good result.
And cameraman, you should try it too.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take that.
Did we have a name for this?
No, I just called it Sierra Nevada clone.
Well, here goes the Sierra Nevada clone. It's good. It tasted, it's uncarbonated obviously right now, so it doesn't taste exactly like finished beer, but yeah, no off flavors. That's about what beer should taste like. It tastes great.
It's firmly bitter. Yeah, I like it. I like maybe a nice subtle fruitiness there that didn't anticipate.
Good.
That's really good.
All right.
All right. So, again, sanitation is key for all of this. First thing you need to bottle beer is, of course, bottles. These bottles, actually some of these we bought from the homebrew shop. They come in cases of 12. These are 22-ounce bottles, which I like.
And you could just use any of the 22 ounces that you drink, or any of the 12 ounces, depending on what you want to do. Just make sure that it's the type of tops that you have to use a bottle over.
Right.
No twist tops, can't use them.
Yeah, so in fact, some of these are, I can tell, ones I drank from the store. And, you want to get
Good
these.
way to recycle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, you start your own collection of bottles. Clean these really well. There's a couple ways to do it. I like to, I first rinse them out really quickly with just putting some water in the bottle, shaking it, dumping it out. I put them in the dishwasher.
Okay.
Some people put them in a sink full of OxyClean,
Just get as clean as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And then they need to be sanitized. And there's a few ways to do that. So there is actually a kind of like a sanitizing setting on some people's dishwasher. You can actually put them in there. Some people put them in the oven at a certain temperature. I don't know what that is. Easiest way, I think, is just get some Star San inside of them and let it drain. And so we can actually do that first. Star San solution.
Okay.
We could put the whole thing in a bucket and just dump it out.
How do you want to do that?
Why don't you do a couple ways and I'll do them a couple ways, and
Alright.
that's
I'll put it in the bucket.
And I'm just going to spray. I'm just going to spray 1, 2, 3 sprays in each bottle. Turn it upside down. These 4 you can do.
It seems to be quicker.
Oh yeah, but yours is more thorough, I'd say. I found that with in some of the store-bought bottles where they have labels on them, you can try to get the labels off as best you can in the sink with your cleanser. Sometimes there's a little residue left. Somehow dunking it in Star Sand seems to almost get the rest off. I don't know if it's that acid solution or whatever, but
Yeah.
it seems to help. So this is a bucket, a sanitized bucket. Connor will display it here. But this has got a special feature. We call this a bottling bucket. It's got a spigot at the bottom that we can open and close. And if you're bottling and you just have this, you could bottle with just this apparatus alone, just open and close as needed. One special ingredient we need to add to this bucket before we rack our beer on top is priming sugar. And priming sugar is it's usually corn sugar, which you can buy almost any home brew shop, or in this case we're actually going to use table sugar, just pure sucrose. You need to make a very small a solution out of that, boil it so it's sanitized, and we're actually going to mix this solution in with the beer. And the reason we do that is
Sugar water.
yeah, there's sugar water in here. We mix sugar with our beer when we bottle because it adds that carbonation in the bottle.
Right, so that's the yeast that's still in the beer will eat up all this sugar, and as the fermentation, a little more fermentation continues to happen, it'll happen within the bottle, and the capped bottle will keep all that residual CO2 that's going out, and it'll get into the beer to carbonate.
So in goes the sugar. I think people do this too. I like to rack onto the sugar and it kind of mixes itself as it gets siphoned in there. Yeah. Again, this sanitizer we're using is called Star San. It is an acid-based wet sanitizer. If you get a little in your beer, it's okay. The saying is, never fear the foam. You're going to have foam in your... Well, you can hardly kind of see it there, but we've got some priming sugar in there. Plenty of foam. Most of that is Star San sanitizer. We're going to be okay. Get it all out. That's pretty good. I know it looks like we're being totally, quote unquote, anal and careful, but because we are. Especially in bottling, you want the stuff to go as cleanly as possible. All right. This is an auto siphon, which is really nice. You don't have to suck on one end of the hose to get the siphon going. As you can see, a few short pumps, and we've already got beer mixing with the priming sugar in the bucket below. Yeah. We can just let it go.
And we got the siphon going.
Yeah. Definitely at this stage, I try to keep as little oxygen in there as possible.
Yeah.
And so we have a nice gentle stirring action going.
Yeah, this will take a minute. We can get footage of that whole. Yeah, you got it.
And of course, we're trying to keep as much of the debris out as possible. On the bottom of this bucket is just a load, probably an inch or two of yeast and proteins and trub, or hot material.
What is called trub.
Yeah, trub, excuse me. There's a sweetness in there.
I like it. I think it tastes really good. I mean, I don't think it doesn't taste like there's any contamination
I
to
don't
it.
think so either, but...
We just lost the siphon, so we're just restarting.
Oh, I see. Okay.
At the very end of the transfer, you kind of have to angle the bottle or angle the bucket like this to be able to get all the last of the beer. And sometimes you lose the siphon.
And I'll watch the tube to see if I'm getting any trub or any kind of debris in there. Depending on how much final product you want to have. If you want the clearest beer possible, stop early. And I might do that a little bit. Just we're still doing really great.
That trub is staying pretty flat on the bottom.
Shit, I feel like I'm hitting a solid surface and nothing's coming. Okay, here we go.
You push up against the side. You're fine.
This English ale yeast that I brewed those other beers with. Seriously, I rested the siphon on the bottom of the tube and nothing came up.
Okay, stop.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Very
All right.
good.
So we have a bucket full of beer mixed with sugar.
All right, so I'm attaching this little tube to the spigot, and then this will make it a whole lot easier to get to the bottom of the bottle, so that way the beer comes from the bottom instead of being poured
Yeah, well, certainly a great investment. I mean, it just makes bottling so much easier, and of course, it's sanitized. So I like to get a little bit of room out there. A towel's nice because you're gonna drip beer. There's just no way around it. So we've got our sanitized bottles. In this, I've got a bunch of sanitized caps. You can buy caps at any homebrew shop. You know, they come in bags of usually like 150, and this is like maybe a couple bucks. You cannot reuse bottle caps you get from beer you've already drank. They come in different colors, different designs. These ones are pretty simple, just bronze caps. And again, these are just soaking in a sanitizer solution.
And then you attach them to the bottle with this.
So maybe I'll fill one. We can put it up here. You can set the cap and go. All right. So sanitized bottle, sanitized bottle filler. Actually, what you should do first is open this, and you'll see this thing slowly fill with beer. All right. Oh, that fell away. A little quicker. So if you look closely, I don't know if you can see this, Alex. There's like a little piece of tubing sticking up. When that hits the bottom of the when it's the valve, when it hits the bottom of the bottle, beer will flow. And when I pull the bottle down, it'll stop the flow. So here we go. Hopefully this comes through. So this bottle is filling. Let's see that. It's a pretty slow process. But a yummy one. And you know, once you start filling a dozen bottles or so, you have your own technique and routine down, and it'll go pretty fast. Sanitized cap. I'd like to get it right up to the top there. There you go. Oh. There's a filled bottle of beer, and Connor will apply the cap.
Bring it up here. Use this capper.
Ta-da!
And that's how you bottle beer.
So, we just finished bottling. So how many bottles here of 22-ounce bottles?
So we ended up with 30 22-ounce bottles.
So that's like over 5 gallons, which is really great. So we have all these bottles of beer that we've sanitized bottled beers that are bottled and ready to go. And what we need to do is let these sit at room temperature for 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is about right.
2 weeks. So
Yeah.
we just pop them in the case here,
Yeah.
keep them at room temperature. And in 2 weeks, the fermentation, the extra fermentation for the carbonation will be done, and they are ready to go.
Yeah, when storing your beer, I mean, this is one time where you do not need to keep it cold necessarily. In fact, at room temperature, it'll help that carbonation process Connor was just talking about happen more efficiently. After that, crack a bottle, see how it tastes, and store it cold and dark.
And with this type of beer, a pale ale, you probably want to drink it as quick as possible. It'll be
Absolutely.
better fresh. So after 2 weeks, pop it in the fridge,
Yeah.
and once it's cold, you can drink it.
Don't let anyone tell you that a beer with the name American in front of it should be aged. It's generally not true. American IPA, American Pale Ale, American Stout, those are usually hop forward beers. Please drink those beers fresh.
Anything with a lot of hops in
Yes,
it, drink it as fresh as
absolutely.
possible.
So, I'm just excited for people to drink this. Great turnout. It was a lot of fun brewing, which is what brewing is really about. And I hope you enjoy your Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone.
And this concludes the brewing workshop with Michael and Connor.